Hello and welcome to the Hobby Corner. This is Graveyard Thoughts, and today could potentially be the very last episode in this very short series. Now, uh, it has been a really good experience actually, because I've been able to access the opinions and thoughts and experiences from a lot of different people from all the spectrums of the hobby, where I wouldn't have been able to before. And I'm in quite a diverse group of hobbyists as it is. People who 3D print, people who use mostly non-Games Workshop miniatures and play non-Games Workshop games, and other people who are complete fanboys of Games Workshop, like myself. But the whole idea of the Graveyard Thoughts was, a short series on the bigger topics that come up in the discussion groups and Facebook groups and stuff like that, and to try and get as many ideas and opinions and experiences together so we can have that discussion and we can see what everyone's opinions and points of view are, and see from everyone's side, to try and get a perspective from someone else's angle. And I think it's been largely successful actually, apart from a couple of Facebook groups, you know who you are, where as soon as they see a catchy thumbnail, they're like, clickbait, not even gonna bother. Or they'll see the title and they'll go off on a tirade, and they haven't even watched the video, so they don't know what I was saying. But I'd say 95% of the interaction has been positive. It has been encouraging. It has been creative and constructive, and there have been some opinions and points of view that I hadn't considered before, or had been represented by people that I talked to. So for that, I'm really thankful. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone for being involved. But today is not just about patting everyone on the back. We have one final thing to talk about. So the final thing I want to talk about is, and I'm sorry for all the huffing and puffing, the extra huffing and puffing, by the way. Yeah, I saw those comments. Walking on a hill is not easy, first of all, and secondly, when you're not well, it's doubly hard. So yeah, that's why I didn't have a video up last week, but I digress. The subject today is on why people take the hobby too seriously, or not seriously enough, or you just don't care. So there's a lot of angles and aspects to this, but let's just talk from a regular Joe's perspective. Your average a hobbyist, someone who's just picked up a box or two, got some paints. They're in it for the enjoyment. They've got their imagination captured. They like it, and they're going to start showing interest in the lore, the army that they've chosen, or the miniatures that they've chosen to start painting. Or they might not. They might just like the miniatures. There are a lot of facets to this hobby, and I think, well, let's just dive in. You also got people who like to play, don't like to build and paint. You got people who like to build but don't like to paint or play. You got people who like to paint and don't like to build and play. You got people who enjoy just all kinds of parts of the hobby, maybe just the community itself. There are people who just enjoy the lore, the stories, the Black Library bits, and the little bits of information you can glean from the codexes and rule books. So these are all good ways of being in the hobby, or good ways of interacting with it, enjoying it, and so on. But you get extremes. Like anything else, you get people who take things to the extreme. They get really, really invested, and it sort of takes over a part of their life. And I think we need to discuss that a little bit, because I think there's a lot of people who forget that it's a hobby. Now, I'm not trying to criticize people, gaslight, or make people feel shitty about the fact that they are really involved in their hobby, that they enjoy it so much that they sort of are wholly engrossed in it, because it's escapism. At the end of the day, that's what a hobby is all about. It's escapism. It's a way of enjoying a different reality, or being in a bubble where you can just enjoy what you're enjoying without the outside world effing with it like it does with the rest of your life. But there comes some flips to that as well, where you can get too invested in it to the point where any changes or opinions that strike against your already established ideologies of the hobby can come across as a personal affront, as a personal attack. And I think that's not quite fair. And to an extent, I can kind of see why that can be a thing, The world is such a shitty place at times. Things go tits up all the time, and it feels like you have no control over your life or the things that go on in your life. There are decisions that you can make, and you can sometimes make bad decisions, and you have to live with the consequences of those. But there are times when things happen in your life that are outside of your control, and having a hobby that you can engross into your life, you can sort of envelop yourself in and just kind of live part of, probably gives you a sense of control, kind of gives you that feeling that you have some sort of control over what's going on in your life. That's fine. I think we can all agree that we all crave a sense of control and security in our lives, and especially those of us who don't have it. But there's a point where it goes from being comfortable and feeling secure to then swinging too far and becoming aggressive, defensive, and toxic, and especially to those around you or the wider community. And it is something that I have experienced through this series. Now, I'm not going to spend the next couple of minutes on my little walk through the graveyard bitching and moaning about some people, trying to hurt my feelings with words, because I'm still of the generation of the whole sticks and stones saying. So you do your best, but at the end of the day, we can all have our own opinions, and you have yours, I have mine. And if you want to throw insults around, well, we all live in glass houses at the end of the day. But what I really want to get to is the people who are too engrossed in it, who have forgotten that there is a world outside of their bubble. There are people outside of their bubble, and we're all human. We all have our own experiences and our own interactions and our own likes and dislikes, and therefore we have our own opinions as well. And it does mean that you're not going to agree on everything, and you can have the most spot on people in your life where you have the same food, you have the same favorite drinks, the same favorite music, the same favorite everything, clothes, whatever. But there'll be that one thing that you still don't agree on. And it's impossible to find someone that will agree 100% on everything that you do, or like everything 100% the same as you. And that's perfectly fine. It's part of being human. It's what makes it interesting. It'd be boring if we were all the same, wouldn't it? Let's face it, we'd just be nothing more than Necron warriors, just automata. The only difference between us is like how much how much rust we've accrued, which is kind of the equal of us getting old and falling apart. So I think there are some people in a hobby, but this goes with any community. It goes with sports fans, it goes with tech fans, it goes with video game fans, comic book fans, fans of books, fans of movies. Any diehard fans, they get so engrossed in their hobby, their subject that they love, that they forget that's not real life. That's not everything. It's enjoyed by many different people for many different reasons, whether it's stress relief, whether it's because of therapy, from PTSD or other mental health issues, or if it's a social thing, or if it is just simply a creative outlet, or if it's just, just for the sake of it, just for the fun of it. We all do our hobbies because we enjoy it. And we need to remember that that's why we do a hobby. It's not a necessity. It's not life or death. We can bitch and moan about prices, about quality, about which faction's best, which one's worth more on the table, or which one's worth more in a cabinet. We can bitch and moan about the brushes, the paints, how a certain faction should be in the future. But at the end of the day, these are just discussions. These are just ideas and opinions. And it's not life or death decisions. We're not running a government. We're not running a hospital. We're not running the military or anything like that. The decisions that we make on this is not going to dictate the lives of the people around us. It is a hobby for enjoyment. And I think we need to sort of take a step back sometimes, take a deep breath, and just look at the wider picture of it at the end of the day. But I think that's all I really wanted to say on that. I love this hobby. I love the community. I love the support that I've been given so far from my little community and from other communities interacting as well. And I want to say a big thank you to everyone who've been involved, who've helped me out, and who've given me a little push when I've needed it, a little word of encouragement, and given me the support when I've been down. Because without you guys, there wouldn't be a hobby corner. And I guess at the end of the day, without this fantastic community, there wouldn't be a hobby. So, in a weird, crazy, squiggly, mathematical way, kind of saying that we're all in the hobby corner. Big loves to you all. I hope you have a fantastic week. And yeah, have a good one. Peace. windy. I have to shield the mic because it's getting a bit windy. But hey, should I go just tash? No beard. Makes me look like a predator.